Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to the course of Advanced Analysis of Algorithms. I am your instructor, Dr. Shafaq Sadiq from Institute of Computing. I have shared this document with you in the very first class and we are following this document. Now you can see that we are on the problem of chain matrix multiplication. This is the quick review or summary of 4 weeks or 6 classes that we have taken so far. We have started our course with the introduction to the course architecture, and the document that I have shown you in the previous slide was discussed in detail in that class. We started our course with algorithm complexity, and in that we have studied the problem of 2D maxima and computed its complexity. Next we studied asymptotic notations, and in that we have studied in detail theta notation, big O notation and omega notation, and also their mathematical definition. Next we move on to the topic of solving recurrence relation, and in that we have studied the quick sort and merge sort. Next we studied the concept of dynamic programming, and in that we have studied the problem of Fibonacci numbers. And the last topic that we were discussing was the chain matrix multiplication problem. In today's online lecture, we will continue our topic of chain matrix multiplication and will provide its solution based on dynamic programming. Recall the process of matrix multiplication. In order to multiply two matrices, the number of columns in first matrix should be equal to the number of rows in the second matrix. Suppose we have two matrices here. The matrix A is of dimension P by Q and matrix B is of dimension Q by R. So when we multiply these two matrices, the resultant matrix C would be of dimension P by R, and the entries in matrix C would be calculated by using this identity. The size of matrix C is P by R, so there would be P dot R total entries in matrix C, and the total number of multiplications would be P dot Q dot R. And how we get these numbers? Because matrix A is of dimension P by Q and B is of dimension Q by R, so total number of multiplications would be P dot Q dot R. Consider the example of three matrices. Suppose we have matrix A1 whose dimensions are 5 by 4, another matrix A2 is of dimension 4 by 6, and the third matrix is of dimension 6 by 2. We have to multiply these three matrices. One point that you all know is that matrix multiplication is associative but it is not commutative. So we have two different ways to multiply these three matrices. First, we can multiply matrix A1 with A2 and then their resultant matrix with A3. Or we can first multiply matrix A2 with A3 and then their result with the matrix A1. In both the cases, the answer would be same, but the different sequence will result in different number of multiplications. So here it is shown that the cost of computing three matrices A1, A2 and A3 in this sequence means first we multiply matrix A1 with A2 and then their result with A3. This will result in 180 total number of multiplications. And the second one scenario is that we multiply matrix A2 with A3 and then their result with matrix A1. So in this case we will be having total 88 number of multiplication. So you see that there is almost 50% reduction in number of multiplication only by changing the sequence of multiplication. Here is a formal problem statement for the problem of chain matrix multiplication. We are given a sequence of matrices A1, A2, A3 up to AN with dimensions P0, P1 up to Pn, where any matrix AI can be of dimension P of I minus 1 by Pi. That is, matrix A1 can be of dimension P0 by P1, A2 can be of dimension P1 by P2, and an can be of dimension p naught by pn. So we have to determine the order of multiplication that minimizes the total number of multiplications. We can define the problem of chain matrix multiplication in another way, like we have to find the optimal parenthesization for the number of given matrices, and for that we have to find the split value, and split value here in this case is denoted by the variable k. So suppose we have the total matrices from A1 to An, and we have to find the split K where we place the parenthesis. So on the left side we would be having matrices from A1 to K, and on the right side we would be having matrices from K plus 1 to N. To find this value of k, we cannot use divide and conquer strategy because we do not know already in advance what will be the optimal value of k. So we have to consider all possible values of k, and then we will apply this strategy to the sub problems. Like initially we have the complete problem of matrices from A1 to An, and next we have the two sub problems A1 to k and A k plus 1 to n. On the sub problem 1 to k, again we find the split for suppose a1 to x and x plus 1 to k. I told you earlier, in case of dynamic programming we store solutions to sub problem in a table and then start filling the table from bottom to up. Let's consider that m of ij denote the minimum number of multiplications needed to compute the product a of I to j, means to multiply the matrices from I to j. So we have this following recursive definition. If I equals to j, it means that we have only one matrix and cost of multiplication would be 0 because we have only one matrix. Otherwise, if I is less than j, then we would be computing product from a of I to j, means we are multiplying the matrices from ai to aj. For this we have to find the value of split, and this split could be I is less than or equal to k is less than j. Remember here that value of k can be equal to I or it can be greater than I, but it will always be less than j. We want to multiply the matrices from I to j. For that we have considered the split at k. Split, or we can say that on the left side we have parenthesized matrices from I to k, and on the right side we have parenthesized the matrices k plus 1 to j. So the total cost would be, the total cost from I to j would be cost of this subsequence plus cost of this subsequence plus total number of multiplications. So see here, this left subsequence is represented by a of I to k, whose cost is m of I k, and on the right side we would be having a subsequence a of k plus 1 to j, whose cost would be k plus 1 to j. What will be the dimension of this matrix? This matrix will be of dimension p of I minus 1 by p of k, and this matrix would be of dimension p of k by pj. So multiplying these two subsequences, the total number of multiplications would be p of I minus 1 by p of k by p of j. And if you remember, this is similar to the initial identity where we have the two matrices A and B. A is of dimension p by q and B is of dimension q by r. The resultant matrix C would be of dimension p by r. So this is the similar case here. So we have the following recursive formula. If we have single matrix, then cost of multiplying that matrix would be 0, and if we have more than one matrix, then cost of multiplying the matrices from I to j would be minimum of m of I to k plus m of k plus 1 to j plus this product of dimensions p of I minus 1, p of k and p of j. The point to note here is that we are varying the value of k from I to less than j, means this identity would result in number of equations, and from among the number of equations we select the value which produces the minimum value. Suppose we want to multiply 5 matrices. For that we have constructed this table with 5 rows and 5 columns. Each row and each column represent the matrix number to be multiplied with another. For example, this column shows the matrix 1 multiplied with matrix 1, matrix 1 multiplied with matrix 2, matrix 1 multiplied by matrix 3, and so on. And the diagonal values show the matrix 2 multiplied by 2, matrix 3 multiplied by 3, and so on. Now for these diagonal values, from the base case we have m of ii equals to 0. Now let's consider this column where we are multiplying matrix 1 with 2. So the cost of multiplying matrix 1 with matrix 2 would be obtained from this identity. Here what can be the possible values of k, like we are multiplying matrix 1 with matrix 2. So we have only one possible value of k, that is 1. I told you earlier that k can be equal to I, but it should always be less than j. So in this case we have I equals to 1 and j equals to 2. So value of k could be equal to 1. So this identity would take this form: m of I to k, that is 1 to 1, plus k plus 1, that is 1 plus 1, 2 to j, and j is 2, plus p of I minus 1, p of k, and pj, and I minus 1 would be p0, p1, and p2. Here in this case k equals to 1, so we are taking p1. Now value of 1 1 is known, value of 2 2 is known, and we also know the dimensions, so we can compute the value of this cell. We will fill this table diagonally. The first diagonal values are obtained from the base case. In the previous slide we have discussed calculating the next diagonal values. Now in this slide we will calculate this value, that is m of 1 to 3. So in order to multiply the matrices from 1 to 3, the possible values of k can be 1 or 2. See in this equation, the value of k is greater than or equal to I and it is less than j. So k can take the value of 1 and 2. For that we have these two equations for k equals to 1 and for k equals to 2. We get two equations. And if you see from this table that m of 1 1 is known, m of 2 3 is known, and we also know the dimensional values, so we can get a single value from this equation. And similarly for k equals to 2, we will get another value. From among the two values we will fill this cell with the value that has the minimum value. Similarly we calculate another value in this diagonal and next value in this diagonal. In this case, when we fill this table diagonally, in the last we will fill this cell, and this cell will provide us the resultant value, like cost of multiplying the matrices from 1 to n, and this number will be optimal, means we will get the optimal or minimum number of multiplications required to multiply the matrices from 1 to from 1 to n. Let's discuss this entire process through an example where we have 5 matrices and dimension of each matrix is given, like A1 is of dimension 5 by 4, A2 is of dimension 4 by 6, A3 dimension is 6 by 2, A4 is 2 by 7, and A5 is 7 by 3. And we have constructed this 5 by 5 table. We have filled all diagonal values with 0 because we know from the base case that cost of multiplying a single matrix is 0. Next we compute entries in the first super diagonals, that is diagonal above this main diagonal. So see here we can have one value of k, like this is m of 1 to 2. So the value of k can be 1. So we have filled this equation with value of k equals to 1, and it gives us the value of 120. For this we are multiplying matrix 2 with matrix 3, and k could be equal to 2. We are getting this result 48. Next we are multiplying matrix 3 with matrix 4. So k would be at 3, and in the next k would be at 4, and we are having the values of 84 and 42 that are entered in the table. Now it is becoming interesting because we have moved to the second super diagonal. As we are moving away from the diagonal, the values of k are increasing. Like in this case, we have only one value of k. Now we will be having two values of k. Like in this case, we are multiplying matrix 1 with matrix 3. So values of k could be 1 and 2. Similarly, here we are multiplying matrix A2 with A4. So the values of k can be 2 and 3. And in this case we are multiplying matrix 3 with 5. So value of k can be 3 and 4. And from among the two equations we have selected the minimum value, as can be seen from these equations, and they are inserted in this table. In this diagonal we are multiplying four matrices, like we are multiplying A1 with A4. So we will be having three values of k, like k can be equal to 1, k can be equal to 2, k can be equal to 3. And we will select minimum of these three values, that is 158, and that is provided at, and that we will get from k equals to 3. Similarly, for this we are multiplying matrix 2 with 5. So the possible values of k can be 2, k can be 3, and k can be 4. Putting these values in this equation, we will get these three values, and we will select the minimum of these three, and minimum of these three is 114, that is obtained when value of k equals to 3. Now we have to compute this final value, and here we are multiplying matrix A1 with A5. So there will be four possible values of k, that is k can be 1, 2, 3 and 4. And from among these four equations we will select the minimum value, that is 160, and 160 value is obtained at k equals to 3. So the final answer would be 160, means 160 multiplications will be required in multiplying this sequence of matrices, and this 160 is the minimum or optimal value. This table is showing the order in which the entries in a matrix are calculated. Like in the first we will compute these diagonal values. Then in the super diagonal we first calculate this value, this value, this value and this value. Next comes the second super diagonal, that would be this value, this, and in the last we will calculate the value at 1 to n. And this is the table that is showing the value of k that is selected and that lead to the minimum value in that cell. So here the diagonal values, no value of k is selected. The diagonal values matrix is multiplied by itself, so it will be 0. Next, when we have only two matrices like 1 to 2, then split is taken at 1, 2 to 3 split is taken at 2, 3 to 4 split is taken at 3, and 4 to 5 split is taken at 4. And similarly the other entries in the table are calculated. By seeing the values in this split table, we can construct the optimal parenthesization for this sequence of matrices. Where our answer is stored at 1 to 5, that is 3. So the first parenthesis would be placed at 3. On the left side of this we are having the sequence 1 to 3, and on the right side we are having the sequence 4 to 5. You can also verify this from this binary tree, like on the left side of 3 we are having 1 2 3, and on the right we are having 4 5. For this 4 5, see what is the value at 4 5. 1 2 3 4. This is the fourth matrix. When multiplied by with 5, it has the value of k equals to 4. So we have split this at 4, and on the left side of 4 we are having a4, and on the right side we are having a5. Similarly, on the left half of this we are having a1 to a3. So we will search for a1 to a3 in this table. a1, a2, a3. So a1 to a3 has the value of 1. Again it's split at 1. On the left side we are having a single matrix, and on the right side we are having two matrices a2 and a3. Again we check that what is the optimal value of k for a2 to a3. This is a2 row 1 2 3, a2 3. The optimal value of k is 2, so we split at 2. On the left side of 2 there is a2, and on the right side there is a3. We will stop until we have a single matrix. So see what is the optimal process to multiply these 5 matrices. First we multiply the matrix a2 with a3 and then its result with a1, and then we multiply the matrix a4 with a5 and its result with this first result, and we will get the minimum number of multiplications. This is the algorithm for matrix chain multiplication problem that we have seen in the previous slides. The input to this algorithm is the dimensions and number of matrices. The first loop is used to assign diagonals the value of 0, and the remaining 3 nested loops are used to fill rest of the table. From this you can easily guess what will be the running time or complexity of this algorithm. If your guess was n cube, then you have guessed the correct answer. The running time of matrix chain multiplication algorithm is big O n cube. You are given the sequence of following matrices along with their dimension. Compute the optimal multiplication order for given matrices. Also compute the cost matrix and split matrix. We are done with our today's topic of dynamic programming based chain matrix multiplication problem. I would also like to link this topic with the recent researches. I have given you some recent research papers in the next slide to get an idea how people are working on such topic. Thank you.